And then talking about COVID, somebody sent something today that in a hospital in Israel, people who have had COVID and have antibodies are going into the hospitals to spend time with new patients. And I'm trying to volunteer here. I sent my GP and some doctors an email saying, because I have such high antibodies that.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
That's absolutely amazing.
But they should have it because nobody can see these people. They're in the hospital all alone.
That's absolutely
Nobody can visit them. Nobody can see them. So.
Wow, that is absolutely incredible.
You are an amazing woman, Joyce.
Yeah.
No, well, I have ideas. I just need to make sure that maybe we can try to implement it. So I called
the best ideas. She's a wealth of knowledge. That's why I'll be onto that shortly about you.
With everyone's permission, I haven't discussed it with my husband at all, but talking about amazing women, it is now the anniversary of my mother's demise.
Today?
Yes. This minute, the 19th of Elul, which is the Hebrew month, 20 years ago. And I would like to read something that I wrote a couple of years ago in her memory, because I feel that she is the embodiment of loving world. Whatever goodness came to me came from her, also my father, but definitely from her. She was such a lovely woman. And in her memory, I'd like to read this. And at the end of that, I'd like you all to choose one thing to do in her memory. And it could be saying a nice greeting, or like Joyce is like going to go to the hospital, whatever it is. It could be answering the telephone nicely to somebody, just one little action in her memory, because she was such a lovely person. And I think her soul would be absolutely delighted at this. Anyway, so this is what I wrote several years ago. It was in the morning. I said, this morning, commemorating the date of her death, I stood at the grave of the precious woman who brought me into the world. Here is a concise description of my mother, a truly lovely human being. Malka, it was her Hebrew name, daughter of Menachem Mendel and Chava Goss, was the embodiment of compassion, kindness, care, and love towards humanity in general, doing charitable acts to anyone, not religiously or politically or nationally specific, being empathetic, espousing causes for well-being, safety, and justice. Towards individuals specifically, visiting the sick, cooking for people in need, calling regularly to inquire after their welfare, happy in their joys, empathetic and a listening ear for people's woes, doing for so many on a very practical level. Towards animals, kind to animals, even the daddy longlegs that appeared in our kitchen would be carefully picked up by her and taken outside rather than swatted or stamped on. Towards nature, loving trees, plants and flowers, knowing their names and knowing how to nurture them. Towards the environment, years before it became fashionable or statutory, she recycled, was careful about refuse, and was very modest in consumerism, and without being miserly, buy what you need, less what you want, though she was very generous with what she had. In her memory today, please elevate her soul and make the world a better place by doing at least one of the following in her name. Show your gratitude to someone who deserves it. Throw out your rubbish in a way that is not offensive to others and secures the safety of the environment. If you drive a car, use the indicator on your car before you intend turning. Only overtake in the correct legal lane. Don't hog the outside lane if driving slowly. Give some charity or do a kind act for someone in need. Give a caring smile to a neighbor or a person you pass on the street. I mean, this might seem strange now because we're all wearing masks, or many of us wearing masks. I said, this was before the days of masks, I said, without it seeming like you're a weirdo or a pervert. And then I wrote, wash the dishes, thank you.
Amazing. What a thing to do. Isn't that amazing? That's amazing. It's a beautiful thing to do.
Well, everybody's lovely on this group, but, you know, I chose well with Nomi, I must say. The best. Nothing against everybody else. The best. Okay. So shall we start?
I think we should start because it's already 7:24.
Yeah, we should start. So
Yeah.
I think some people I know have been working hard on this homework from last week. Actually, and I'm realizing Sands is not with us because he was going to talk to somebody. But there's a video which also talks about the natural. We have natural strengths, but those very same natural strengths come along with natural weaknesses, and the goal is to feel good about our strengths and then be able to help each other or be open to being helped because I recognize I've got weaknesses as well, and so we can as a team use our strengths to help others that don't have those strengths. So I was battling whether to show the second video and then we can do it together, but as I'm talking I'm thinking let's jump into the homework. Maybe each person has prepared stuff for the other people on the group, and there's not many of us this week, but maybe we'll start with Nikki because you happen to be first on the list. Maybe you can talk about the people, the strengths of the people, and then we'll watch the video and see how we can help each other with weaknesses. So Nikki, who are you going to talk about?
Okay, so I wanted to talk about Joyce and Annie and Simon, and Simi, because I know them really well. And I feel confident that I've known them for enough years to speak with authority. Joyce is definitely, I think, Joyce is somebody that if I need something, no matter what, she just knows where to find it. And it's the best quality because she'll naturally, I won't even phone her to ask her. I'll just phone her with a problem and she'll say, this is what you do. And she's always right. She just always seems to know. So I think she's definitely a micro. Is it a macro relator?
Yeah. Yes.
She's definitely a macro relator, but she's extremely connected as well. So she does this to all kinds of people, not just me. That's just Joyce. Am I right or wrong, Joycey? Yes. You just offer your help. You really are like that. I think I'm right. And so she's a macro, and she has the best ideas. She has like brilliant ideas that just naturally flow from her brain. So she's a macro thinker, right? A macro thinker.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Interesting. She's also.
What's a macro? I think I'm looking at something else. What's a macro thinker?
So basically, you think about the big picture.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
You think about large, inspiring ideas and others follow. You've got to be that. That's you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Of course, we're all 6, but I'm asking Joyce, since you started off this session talking about the way you're going to make this mask and you've got all the pieces, are you a micro doer as well? Technically, do you do things?
Yes. Yes. I try.
Yeah, she does. There's going to be these masks for sale with these chains very soon.
Oh, wow. Look forward to seeing that.
That's amazing. So you're micro, and do you feel you're, as I said, we're all 6, but in terms of your strength, are you feeling you're strong as a micro relator, or a micro doer? Of those two, which are your strengths?
I think I'm a bit of all 6.
You're a bit of all 6. Fair enough. Well, all are a bit, but definitely a macro thinker. Because every time I was stuck, you came up with a macro idea. I remember that. You always thinking about the big picture.
Yeah.
There is a problem with being all 6 because sometimes I feel I don't get, in the end, anything done. Because I have my hand in so many things that I never sometimes feel that I follow through on everything.
I heard that complaint once from somebody else on the screen.
I know. Okay. It's a problem.
So, okay. So, Nomi, who did you choose?
Well, initially, because I don't like being put on the spot. I'm not very good at that. So I was just like looking at the screen and I just saw like Naftali was there. So I said, oh, I'll choose Naftali, but he's not.
He is. I think that there's a gift thing.
No,
Who's that gift?
That's Shira.
That's Shira?
Shira, I think. Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So Naphtali's not here. But then I realized, you know what? I should have picked somebody whose picture I couldn't see. So then I chose Anne. This is in my head. I didn't say it. I chose Anne, even though I don't know her that well.
Is Anne on the screen here?
Anne's not here at the moment. No.
Oh,
And then Nikki said, I'm going to choose Anne. So I thought, oh, well, you know, maybe she knows her better, so I won't choose Anne. It just shows like the way my mind works. And so then I thought, well, I'll choose Miriam Simcha because I sort of like, I know her. So, but anyway, I've done a lot of homework and I've done all three. So anyway, and I don't know if I'm correct because Naphtali and Anne aren't here, but they are like, you know, I suppose if they see the recording afterwards, they'll let me know. But Nikki knows Anne better than me anyway. So I said, like, start off with Naphtali. He is a macro relator. He goes around the world. He like knows tons of people and he interacts with them on a personal level as well. But really, he's out there to meet the world. That's Naphtali. He wants to see the world. And he's also a macro doer because he's like set up like just, you know, 100 organizations and he keeps on going around and doing things. So that's Naphtali. I think you can tell me if I got him down to of course he does all the others. Now Anne, who I've had a few private interactions with, I think is a very deep micro thinker. I've been in awe of some of the things that she says, but it's not on like a universal level, it's on a very personal level that she takes very seriously about who she is, her place in the world, you know, her relationship to other people, and she's thinking, and her relationship to, like, you know, the creator as well. So that's what, and I think she's also a micro doer because I see that she, I got her down? I got her down. Okay, good.
yes, we're all six, but these are her particular strengths.
Right. And so Miriam Simcha also is a beautiful relator. We saw that last week with what she was doing with that family. And then she even like prepared to forego a job possibility and moving to a different city, which was like in order to relate to individuals. And I've seen that the way she relates, not just like, you know, to us as like, you know, loving classroom, but to David and to me individually, personally. She always asks about my kids and she remembers details about my kids, which is like, that's what a micro relator does. They remember individual things and makes the person feel good. Like, oh, I was important. She remembered that. So that's, and she's also a micro doer. She just does and does and does for people. For her family, for community, whatever. So do I have you down, Miriam Simcha? But you need to unmute yourself.
You're mute.
Micro doer, you got to unmute.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes. Can't see
Okay,
you,
good.
we can hear you.
Can you see me?
Yes.
Yes, now we can see you.
Oh, good. Okay, so I'm okay. I'm set. These things make me crazy. Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Fantastic. I'm enjoying myself. This is Joyce. Who did you choose? Can't hear you. Joyce, you're on mute.
So I chose Nikki and Naphtali, but Naphtali's not here, so I'll save that.
Where is she?
So
Well,
Nikki,
I'd still like to hear what you say about Naphtali.
okay, I'll do Nikki first and then I'll say Naphtali.
Yeah.
Nikki, I feel, encompasses every single thing on the micro column. So everything about her is really micro. Like, she is a thinker. Like, she is a specialist on things and she makes sure all the bits and pieces and everything's in place, and she can't sleep until she knows everything is exactly how and where it should be. Then she's also what is the relator, because she puts so much time into people. But one-on-one, whenever you're with Nikki, you feel you're the only person in the world.
You mean there's somebody else in the world?
The
Apart
only
from
person.
me?
No, when she's with you, she really makes
I
you
know.
feel
It's
special
that
and that
feeling.
you have your
I thought
attention.
it was only me that was special.
You're very special.
Oh, you mean there were others?
You're
Right, carry
special.
on.
We're all special. But
I
that's
know, I
Yeah,
know.
yeah, his home. It's his
no, it's
humor.
okay. We
It's
are all
humor.
special. When you're with Nikki, she has a way of making you feel extra special.
Absolutely.
So she is, I can read it here. She's deeply caring for the individual. Like that is her 100%. And then she is a doer. She wants to get a job done and she just does it. She doesn't care how she gets there or how long it takes. And yeah, and that's what makes her a really special person, because sometimes I do think people are just one, but she really is the whole macro side. So that makes her an extra special person.
Wow.
We agree.
Amazing.
We agree.
And I can see Nikki's beaming, so I think she feels understood.
Oh my God. But the jobs will be done in their time. Okay.
Wow. Sorry, Anita, you weren't here last week. I remember now. We went through the personality system, so I'll let you off the hook unless you want to join in. But we said head, heart, and hand. Some people are macro thinkers or micro thinkers. Some people are macro relators or micro relators, macro doers and micro doers. And everybody's all six a little bit, but we were looking at the strengths of each person in the group. And maybe after seeing everybody else talk, you'll want to join in and choose somebody at random to say what you think is their strengths.
I have to say mea culpa because I didn't put the recording on for you to do your homework. You didn't know what the homework was. So I apologize to everybody and everyone who's not here. I had a difficult week and I didn't get up in time. Sorry.
Simone.
Yeah, I didn't do my homework. I didn't know what we had to do. So
I've got to talk about Simone. I've got to talk about Simone. That's what
Okay, go for it.
I'll do. So Simone she's definitely a micro doer. That's a macro doer. Can you do both? Can you be both?
Well, yes, you can. Yes, you can be. Yes, you can.
It's like, and she's a real connector as well. I think she is a macro connector. To me, don't you think?
Well, I'm learning about Simone.
She's got a wealth of knowledge and she's calm about it. And she's so like calm, but she just like, whenever I go to Simone, it's because I've got this idea and I just love it because she just calmly, she makes me calm and she makes me feel that it can definitely happen. And even if it's way out there. And she's one of the, so she's a definite, and she'll always support. She's also a micro, she supports me. So does that make her because I have to learn this terminology better. So if she's very supportive of causes and projects and people,
That's macro. That's
is
macro. And if it's the individual, it's micro with the details.
Both. She's both. Am I right, Tim?
You're on mute, Simone. What do you say?
I'm blushing. I don't know. Well, thank you. I try, and it's very difficult to be everything, to do everything, and do it all well. So just try our best, I guess. I don't know.
So
thank you.
What we're talking about here is your strengths, because your strengths can help humanity. We're not here to try and embarrass you, and at the same time, we're not here for you to say, "Oh shucks," and to boast about. But we're talking about, like, I recognize I have a strength in me, and I can help humanity with it. Now, with every strength can also come a weakness, which David will talk about next time. But it's something to celebrate, Simone, that your strengths we're happy for you that you have these talents and that you're using them.
What I feel is that we're not focused in
What?
Then it's like you're trying to do it all well, but a lot of it falls by the wayside, and a lot of things don't get done as well as they should be. that's I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just saying that sometimes it's good to like say, okay, I think what's brilliant about this exercise is you can actually compartmentalize, and you can say, okay, I could be better here rather than there, and then put your strength into there and understand yourself a little bit better, and that way maybe be more helpful to humanity rather than trying to be everything. So I'm liking
Wow.
I like this.
Wow. That's very profound what you said, because I realized quite early in the system when it came out,
Right.
I realized I'm more of a macro thinker and not a macro doer. And yet I'd like to have through the thoughts an impact on the world, but I'm not a macro doer. I just can't build organizations well. And so I realized that it's dependent on teamwork. So you need people like Tulani in the world. So I'll come up with a few thoughts, and then Tulani will just build this massively successful organization. So it's a combination of our different skills, and then Nikki comes along and everybody else, but and all of you, and connects all these people, and it's so pleasurable to see that you don't have to be all 6 boxes. And then I can sort of like spend a little bit more time in the area that I should be spending, instead of trying to do everything, because I know that I'm not strong in macro doing, even though I want to see an impact on the world.
Oh, wow.
So, and Happy Anne, I think Nomi spoke about you beforehand, didn't you? And you weren't online, so it doesn't bore me, but can you maybe go over what you said about Happy Anne?
And
Yes,
I fully
I did.
agree. I fully agreed with her. That was what I was going to say.
Okay.
So I just wanted to explain that you didn't know that I was doing homework about you, because when we spoke, when I was put on the spot last week, I didn't see everybody's faces. Sometimes, Happy Anne, you are without a screen. And so I was just like looking, oh, who shall I pick? And I just like saw Naftali's face, so I said Naftali. But afterwards, I thought about you and I have had like a little bit of interaction and correspondence, and I wanted to see if I could try and figure out what your strengths are. All right, so I have seen that you are a very, very deep micro thinker. Whereas figuring out your connection, who are you in the world? Who are you within humanity with regards to the creator, with regards to your family and people, and that meant, but very detailed. I saw like the details that you've given me. So I called you a micro thinker. And along with that, I saw with the detail that you're doing as well for your, for your family. I don't know you beyond that, but I just like to see you a micro thinker and a micro doer. So it was a pleasure to get to know you. I hope I've sized you up correctly. Nikki said yes.
You're on mute, Anne, but I'd love to hear what's behind that smile.
Sounds good. I'd like to meet that Happy Anne. If Nikki says yes, then it's 100% correct.
Wow.
It's 100% correct.
I am deeply, deeply honored. Well, first of all, Nomi, I think you articulated Happy Anne so positively. I feel humbled and pleasurable. Very, very great honor to know you, Happy Anne. And every time you turn up, I love everybody. But when I see your name, I can't get over it. It's just the best. And it's such a pleasure to get to know some. And I really relate to the fact that you go into ideas deeply. I like doing that as well. And so I feel certain connection there, just really ripping apart the idea and getting into it.
Because the micro doer, I still have room for improvement, but that's what I'm onto. So, but it's beautiful because Naomi sees it, so it's there, so I can work on something. So that's already something to focus on. Beautiful, thank you.
Great. Let's see. Actually, it was Miriam Simcha. Miriam Simcha, did you have somebody that you were going to talk about?
I chose Joyce and Tulani. I don't know either of them at all, really, just from what we've had interaction here, but this is the feeling I got. Okay, so Joyce is on the macro level, she's a connector. She's into macro relations, and I'm looking at my notes too because I wrote this down. Macro relations. She designs. I feel she can design things. She can streamline an idea. And on the micro level, I think she's like a micro specialist. Like, she thinks out of the box. She gives details. Like, David will come up with a suggestion, and Joyce will say, well, why don't we instead have the students do this, X and Y, instead of the teacher, or whatever it is. I was listening a lot to what Joyce, to everybody, what they had to say. But, so my thing is this. I think Joyce is a macro connector and a micro specialist.
Brilliant.
That's what I think. And besides being, I feel a really special person. Everyone's so special, but I don't know. Joyce is just, as they say in Hebrew, motik, matuka, very sweet. Everyone is, but anyway, I connected to her. And Tulani, I don't know if he's here today or not.
He is.
Yes,
He's listening.
He is good. So Tulani, I felt an immediate magnetism to him. I felt an immediate connection. It's like, I just love him. I don't know what it is. I've never met him in person. I've only heard him speak. I barely see him on screen, but I love the guy. He's just fantastic. And I think he is a, let me see, on the macro
He's
level.
smiling. He's smiling. There he is.
Oh, yeah, Tulani smiling. Okay, that's good. I'm glad I made him smile. So he's a macro producer. I think he's a macro producer. He's a macro doer. He saw a situation or sees a situation, or maybe through his life he had seen situations that shouldn't be. And I feel that, this is just my feeling, I feel that he saw things and went through things that helped him build this burning desire to change what was existing and that should not exist. I feel he's like a macro producer. David's like the macro, what do you call it, the leader.
Thinker.
But Tulani is going to get it going.
Right.
You know, and as far as on the micro level, micro doer, he's a micro doer because I feel he's also a micro specialist. Because he also can give that support to the individual. I really feel he cares to the individual involved in each project, in each school. That individual, I feel, can feel the special energy coming from Tulani, and he's a doer. He's gonna build that. He's gonna build the project and get it into the system.
Wow.
That's my feeling.
Wow, Miriam Simcha, you are so articulate in your love for people. It's astounding. And I'm not saying that because other people weren't speaking nicely. You're always scared about insulting anybody else when you're complaining. But I think you are absolutely incredible and articulate with so many details. Quite remarkable.
Thank you.
And last week I felt it, this week I felt it. Wow, thank you.
Thank you.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Oh,
Thank you.
you're welcome, Tulani. One day we will meet. You'll see.
Okay, I'm
Most definitely.
Oh,
Most
sorry.
definitely.
Do you have anything you want to say, Tulani?
Homework. His homework.
No, before.
Oh, is it my turn now?
Oh, in terms of what? No. Well, actually, jumping, not missing out. Simone, are you there? Did we ask Simone already? I'm just going in order of my screen.
I am here.
No, she said she didn't do because she wasn't.
Oh, you did. Oh, you weren't part of the group. Okay, your turn,
I
Tulani.
didn't
Then.
get the homework. Sorry, I'm a bad student. Sorry.
No problem.
No, thank you.
Tulani, your go.
Last week I chose David because I thought David is one person that I know better than everyone else here because we speak a lot with David. But then on second thought, while I was at home, I then thought I also speak to Nikki a lot. And maybe I should do them both, do David and Nikki. And with David, I would say you are a micro thinker, from my interactions with you, you have this big picture that you want to see. You want to see the world changing. You want to see love all over the world. And for me, that's being a micro thinker.
Micro or macro?
Macro thinker, yes. And when it comes to Nikki, I would say she is a macro relator. And why I say that is that, and she's also a macro connector. Why I say that, it's because, I was thinking she has connected us to so many people here in South Africa, and we've never met her in person. We speak on the phone, but she's connected us to people here in South Africa and people all over the world. I was just sitting and thinking, during this COVID-19, she connected us to the Angel Network. And there is a lady there called Glenn. That woman is amazing. Thank you for that connection, Nikki. That woman, actually, that connection came just in time, because while COVID hit us hard here in South Africa, and we were sitting and thinking, you know what, we don't know what we will do now, because we can't do our primary program. We can't go to schools because we are on lockdown. Schools are closed. We are not a program that gives food to children or gives social relief to children. We don't do that. We do more of a macro intervention. We think of a bigger picture. She came in and she assisted us a lot with our children, with many essential services that our children only get at school. And now children could not get them because of COVID. And, she made us relevant, because who knows, maybe schools would have forgotten about us, because schools closed for 6 months here in South Africa. Schools would have forgotten about us and forgotten who we are. But she made us relevant to schools, because we were there all the way up until now. And I would say Nikki, it's a macro connector and a macro relator, because she relates a lot with our situation. I know that she has not, and she relates with the situation of these children. I know she has not lived that life. She does not come from that background, but speaking to her, you can see that she knows and she understands and she relates to what is happening and to what people on the other side, for a lack of better word, are feeling. So yeah, that's what I want to say.
Wow.
Thank you, Tilani. But I really think it was God as well. God definitely just told me what to do.
Oh, yes.
I just did it. Servant of God.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'd like to respond with something to you, Tilani, from what you said about me. You made a mistake by calling me a micro thinker, but then as you were speaking, I was thinking, wow, Tilani really appreciates like another side of me. And they said, oh no, I didn't mean micro thinker, I meant macro thinker. But suddenly I realized that and as I was speaking to you, I realized something about myself, that I'm actually both a macro and micro thinker. And it's actually my weakness in doing. I'm okay in finding people to do things, like we found each other, or God found us, as Nikki would say. So there's that lovely teamwork. But I realized that I'm actually just really in the zone of thinking. And Nomi does relating on a micro level, Nikki does it macro level, or Joyce or anybody else. But I'm much more in just the thinking world, but I'm thinking, and then somehow I meet all these relators and doers. And but I feel like more complete. It's a funny mistake but I felt I know who I am a little bit more now. I'm a macro and micro thinker. But the details, and I felt that speaking about Anne, Happy Anne, I feel very connected to her because she likes to get into ideas deeply. So I suddenly felt like, oh, Anne and I understand each other, even though we've never really had that much of a conversation. Well, a little bit, but anyway. So thank you for that gift, Tulani, and God. So that's, Happy Anne, did you come up with some people? I can't remember.
Guess who?
I don't know. I can't think.
It's an easy one. It was Nikki.
Nikki.
It was Nikki, but it's hard. Now that Nikki has been described again and again and again. And looking at the homework, I didn't spend too much time. It was a very busy family weekend. But always on the side, I kept thinking about it. And I realized there are not enough boxes to cover Nikki. I mean, there's only those 6 boxes and it became quite restrictive. So, and then I said to myself, all right, so Nikki, underline, she's a macro relator, and I'd like to call her a giga thinker and a giga producer. So yeah, and what stands out is Nikki, I mean, if somebody might not know her, they might think she's crazy. She's got some lofty ideas. She thinks big and she wants to improve the world, and she's an initiator, and she has this huge, I can't really say imagination because it's true. And whatever she wants to do, she will put heart, soul, blood, and sweat into, and she will get it done, and she will improve the world. I mean, even if our group would shrink down and Nikki is the last one in it, it would still go its way. We would still succeed because that's how powerful Nikki is in her thinking, relating, and producing. She's incredible. It was always like fascinating because she thinks so big, but at the end of the day, she does it through connecting, but she won't give up. She will until she gets I can't say the job done, but she will get there. But with so much love and sweat and heart and soul, it's incredible, incredible. And I wish there were more Nikkis around, because then the world would be a much happier place. Yeah. So a giga thinker and a giga producer. Sorry, the micro and macro was nice, but I had to go a size bigger for Nikki.
Great. That's the whole point, is creativity and thinking out of the box. So no complaints about that one. So Samantha, did you have? I can't remember, and I know you're boxed out, maybe in a car or something. You just muted yourself, by the way, Samantha. You weren't muted before. So
I just stopped driving. Hi there. I'm sorry, I wasn't around the last couple of weeks, so I didn't even know there was any homework as such to do. So perhaps you could tell me for next week.
Well, it's built on, Nomi maybe we'll post last week's video.
It's on the recording.
Next week, next week, but it's built on, next week we'll just start with the video for the next thing. No homework for next week. We'll just start with, what we're going to do is the same thing, but maybe in a loving way, just to give you a hint. For example, somebody that thinks a lot and is in the world of thought, sometimes because he or she is in the world of thought, lacks sensitivity in the heart to other people's feelings. So I would be thinking about the science of oneness and the world and everything, and then suddenly Nomi would say, you know, were you in touch with somebody about this, that, or the other? Oh gosh, I forgot. I was actually like lacking an awareness and sensitivity on an emotional level. And so Nomi is teaching me through her ability as a micro relator. She's teaching me how to come out of my world of thinking to be a better micro relator. So like, we're not like looking at each other's faults, which come naturally as a result of our strengths. There are other areas that maybe there are faults that produces, but it's sort of with our respective strengths, we can then help each other become completely fulfilled as a team. I hope that made a little bit of sense. And we'll start next week with the video that goes into that in strength. And I realized that Shira from Gift, because I just saw the graphic.
Shira. It's not Shira, it's Sands.
Oh.
Sands. Oh, that's Sands. So Sands, can we finish off with you, Sands? If you're on mute and we can't see the video. Can we finish off with you if you thought of, hello, Sands. Oh, always with that smile. You People say I'm always smiling, but you definitely beat me on that one. And I'm happy. You are a macro smiler, and I love it. And
I don't know what that means, macro smiler, but I'll take it as a compliment.
well, it is intended as such. Yes. Do you have something? We'll finish off with your words.
Okay, well, it's like a minute, so I'll be as quick as I can. I was going to do Shira, and she's not here, so but I've listened as best as I could to those people doing others. So I'm still going to do Shira, and everyone can vouch that I said nice things about her, etc. I just want to relook at the different things. So Shira, I've worked with her for now a year and a bit, and she is a what I would call a supporter in terms of relating. She gets very good one-on-one relationships going. She's also a micro doer, I would think. You get it. I mean, she does think bigger, but when she does something, she's very good with the details, gets things clear, and can lay, like you say, there's like bricklaying. She's very good at doing, specific things. And in terms of thinking, I get the feel she is more a specialist than the bigger picture. She does understand the bigger picture, but she thinks more in a specialist way. So that would be my take on Shira. For I hope I did her justice, but that's where I would say. But I've been listening to everyone else.
Can I talk about Sandal from what I know about him?
Absolutely. And anybody that wants to leave can leave, because we're going over a little bit time. So anybody, if you have to leave, you have to leave. We understand. But please, yes, Nikki, what's Sandal?
I can just tell you. Okay, so I met Sandal, I don't know, was it a year ago, right? A bit over a year ago. But yes. And I loved what he was doing, but I can just tell you, when COVID hit, Sandal sent me like one line as a message, and he goes, "This is it." And I'm telling you, within like 24 hours, right?
About that, yeah.
About 24. So he worked through the night, okay? And he set up where it was instantly, I think 200, I don't know how many are now, but it's in the 200s, okay? Over hundreds, when hundreds of volunteers joined a WhatsApp group, and there were more than one WhatsApp group. So I don't know how many you got, but you can say that the details, because it was nearly, I think it was thousands.
Oh my God.
Overnight, 24 hours, set up volunteers helping humanity, and it was done in 24 hours. And he did it. He just said,
wow.
This is it. This is it. This is gift. This is it. And it was done. So what does that make him? That is like a macro leader, macro producer. Well, it was on massive level.
Well, I think he's
made me very tired. That's what it made me.
Macro doer.
He's a macro doer.
But he produced it from nothing. Yeah, it was nothing before.
It has to be said, it was a team effort. Right. It wasn't just me.
Yeah, but you said it. You said, "This is it. Watch and it was like the next
so
day.
He could be a macro thinker that then uses people, not used in a negative sense, that works with people to implement his macro thoughts. He thought, "This is it," is a very macro thing to say. He got it. He got that flash of wisdom.
Yeah. But he did it in the next.
But he got people to do it. Maybe I don't know him well enough. I don't know what he actually did, but he certainly got people. He got the team to do it.
And then afterwards, went to celebrate, which was also one of the first that, because all of us had been in lockdown and at home, and we'd all been with our families. Again, he just thought of this brilliant drive-in idea where we all stay in our bubble cars, which was genius and brilliant, right, Joyce? It was such a clever way to get us out, because we all had such cabin fever, but we were still safe. This huge movie theater to show us the work that had happened over the last few months with COVID. And it was the most amazing evening that we had the best night out. And again, he did it. And it was clever and different.
Fantastic. So I'm finishing off with happy, thank you, Nikki. And I love everybody. I can't stop, I waste too much time talking about how much I enjoyed that. So we have to finish. So I'm finishing off with Happy Ann. What is the name of that light that just joined your room?
So that's my cherry on the cake. That's Leah, my little one, and she turned 4 on Friday.
Oh,
And
happy
she just
birthday,
started
Leah.
nursery today.
Yay.
That's
Happy
it.
birthday, Leah. You are gorgeous.
Thank
And
you,
we were
thank
just
you.
talking about how much we love your mum, how she's a deep thinker and how she gets things done. And we were just talking about what a lovely, gorgeous mum you have. And I just wanted to make sure, you know it anyway, but I wanted to make sure you know that the world loves your mum.
I better take it in writing, so one day when she understands, I can read it to her.
Okay, I'll send it
Thank you.
to you.
Okay, it's all on record. We're sending you the recording.
It's recorded. Yes, it's on record. Yes, it's there. You got it. Okay.
Okay, see you next
Cheerio,
week.
everybody. Love you. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.